Welcome, everyone. This is David Parra with AARP for another episode on this Facebook series, Social Security. Will it be there for me? We have a special program today. We have held some conversations with future beneficiaries on Social Security, which have been very, very good in learning what's in their mind, especially those 30 to 59. And we know that the 2021 trustees report came out. And in that report, we learned that Social Security is solvent until 2033. It will be able to pay full benefits, 100% of benefits until 2033. But starting in 2034, it will only be able to pay 76% of benefits, and that's not acceptable. That's why we have this effort to raise awareness, specifically, more specifically with those 30 to 59, which are the future beneficiaries. Um, we have opened up a Facebook group for folks to join our group. It's called on Facebook, Social Security, Will It Be There for Me? Now, the second thing that we are doing, in addition to opening up that Facebook group, and of course having these shows on our Facebook page, is that we have prepared a survey, a Social Security survey. And I have with me Maria Ramirez Trillo and Alex Juarez, my colleagues. I'm going to ask them to review with me those 20 questions. They go pretty fast. And the idea here, Alex and Maria, of course, we know is we need to learn more about what has been the experience of acquaintances, friends, family members about on retirement preparation, because this is very important. We know that 1 in every 4 households depend on Social Security for 90% of their benefits. And that is not good. So we have to do something to educate more and to encourage folks more to get ready, to prepare for retirement on the one hand. On the other hand, we cannot allow Social Security to come 2034 and be only able to pay 76%, which is pretty crazy, just the idea. So we need to advocate, and for that we need to come together. We need to join forces and kind of join the conversation, and why not the debate, because this issue will get addressed in Congress whether they like it or not, and we have to pretty much force them to do so as soon as possible so that this does not become an emergency. Any thoughts on that before we review the subject? This is very important, I think.
Maria, you want to start?
Right. So a critical importance, definitely. And so, David, you make that important topic or point that we have to come together, that because it affects all of us, it affects our future, our kids, our grandkids way down the road. Yes, but critical.
Yes, definitely.
Alex?
And I'd like to point out, David, I think, you mentioned the study that was just done, and but a matter of fact, it's done every year. And the survey or the results basically tell us that by 33 now, which is a year before what
Right.
it was expected, it'll be 75, 76%. But that's if we're lucky, because this is happening every single year. If the inflation continues to grow much higher than expected, this could be a bigger issue. So we definitely need to address it. And I think for the younger generations, they really need to focus on Social Security. So that's why this survey is so important for us to understand gain some intelligence as to how important it is for the younger generations.
And you make a good point, because with the pandemic, if less people work, less money comes in,
Right.
and the inflation will allow Social Security beneficiaries to get a higher raise, so more money will go out. So it's
Mhm.
very simple. Money comes in, money goes out. So we have to figure out a way to make this program solvent for the longest. I mean, the law requires that this program is solvent for 75 years. We're
Yeah.
not nearly on that. So we have to do something. And by coming together, by joining our Facebook group, by having these conversations and by taking this survey, and then we're going to have an additional step in a few weeks that we want to invite folks to take. I think we will be prepared to advocate and to exercise some pressure on Congress because they have to act. All these figures that we have reviewing or presenting to you, obviously, is if no changes are made. That is, we need to clarify that because obviously, before 2033 or 34, if changes are made, the whole formula changes. So I
Right.
think we need to make sure that folks understand that we are talking in this scenario that no changes are made. Let's review this survey real quick. We don't want to make this program too long. We're already at 6 minutes. So let's just review the questions. If I may ask Alex to review the first five. I dumped five in one slide because these are very
Yeah.
straightforward. Go ahead.
Exactly. I think the beginning is basically just demographics. Of questions 1 through 5 is basically just getting your first name, where you live, the zip code, which is important to see where we're concentrated, age groups, and obviously the education. So very
Yeah.
simple demographic.
And we don't, surveys are tricky. We don't want to offer personal information, and
No.
we are very aware of that, and that's why we made it ambiguous, if you will, so that you can
Mhm.
give us the information, but still you can conceal your identity, so that you don't have to divulge your identity. So we're making it very broad, but it'll give us an idea, an idea about zip code, age,
Mhm.
etc., city of residence, educational level, etc. So Maria, if you can help us with number 2.
Right. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how familiar are you with Social Security, its benefits, who is eligible, and how and when to apply for benefits?
Right. This is basically, we want to know how knowledgeable people are. And believe it or not, we are learning that many people are giving themselves on those conversations that we have had, a 3, a 5. So no one
Mhm.
really gives themselves an 8 or a 10. So that means that not a lot of people know the system. And I want to apologize. I did that. I thought I fixed the, no, actually, it's fine. It's number 6. I'm totally wrong.
Mhm.
I thought it
Yep.
was number 2. I apologize. No, it's still good. Yeah. So this is basically just to for people to grade themselves. What how much they know of Social Security. Number
Knowledge.
7, Alex.
Number 7 is just a question about how the Social Security program is funded and if you know how it's done.
Right,
So,
right. And this is very important because I also have learned that a lot of people, they just don't have a clue. I mean, they kind of know that they pay into the system, but they don't have the exact way of the 6.2%, the match. If you're self-employed, you pay the whole enchilada, so to speak. So so basically, it's important to understand these things. And again, through our effort, not only are we gaining the input, but we're providing the information so that folks understand Social Security a little better. Next, Maria.
So, are you receiving your Social Security statements?
Yeah.
Right.
This is another a very important question because, as you know, I do radio shows, and
mhm.
I have learned that very few people pay attention to the statement, and it's crucial because that's going to tell you how many years and how much money you've made per year, and there could be discrepancies. So we have to pay attention to this statement that Social Security sends. They used to send it every year. Now they only send it every 5 years, unless you're 60. Then starting at 60, they send it to you every year. So the next one, Alex.
Question 9 is basically along the same line, and you are absolutely right, David. I've asked several people, "Hey, have you created your Social Security.gov account to track your Social Security?" And many of them have not even started that process. So very important to create your Social Security account at socialsecurity.gov, and it's basically just a question if you've already created or not.
And this is very important because once you do, then you don't have to expect that letter or that mail to, the statement to come on the mail. This, we strongly recommend people to go to socialsecurity.gov and create an account. They'll ask you a series of questions that only you would know, just to for security purposes. And that way you can create your own account. And not only that, but guess what? They have a calculator. You can
Mhm.
check benefits. You can do so many. Well, I shouldn't exaggerate, but you can do several things on Social Security. So we strongly recommend that you create your account. Next.
So, do you know family members or friends who receive Social Security?
And let's read, Alex, the next one too. I think they go together.
Yeah, it goes together. So if yes, do you know if they have retirement income from other sources, excluding, of course, the wages or gifts that are given to them to supplement the Social Security? Would you say that they are doing well or just making it? I think that's an important thing to ask as well. No, are they doing okay with that if they're receiving that supplement?
Yeah, and here's where the folks are going to help us by providing input. I mean, we all have
Mhm.
friends and family members. We may be aware whether they have other income. They basically, if they prepare, maybe they didn't have the opportunities. I was sharing on the radio show on Tuesday that I started literally getting ready for retirement, or at least waking up to that reality very near to 40 years of age. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Why? Because I didn't want to.
Mhm.
No, I never had a job until I found AARP that had benefits. I mean, I
Mhm.
was I
Mhm.
was almost hitting 40 years of age when I came across a company that provided these wonderful benefits that we enjoy at AARP. So sometimes folks they don't have those choices. Sometimes
Right.
they do, and they
Mhm.
don't take advantage. So we want to
Mhm.
learn in this survey the different scenarios that family members and or friends experience. So
Mhm.
as we go through this, just feel free to make any comments that you want. We are nearing 12 minutes. Not too bad. Let's go to question number 12.
Number 12, in terms of retirement planning, would you say you or family members or friends did their best with what they had, or do you spot missed opportunities?
What would you say, Maria? Your acquaintances, your friends, your parents? Do you know people if they could have done better, or they just did the best they could?
I think majority just did the best they could because of education. And then I look at some of my parents in that the education level was low, but definitely I give them a lot of credit because my dad did put some money away. But it could have been better. But at the time, he was raising a family. So,
Yeah, and that's why this important this program that we are running is so critical, because we wanna reach people when they're young, in their
Mhm.
30s, 40s, 50s, so they can make better decisions and take advantage of any opportunities that employments and beyond employment are available for them. So let's continue with number 13.
So on question 13, assuming that you think about your own retirement, what part does Social Security play in your planning? And David, you've already given us a pretty pretty strong data point there that close to
mhm.
90% of people assume that Social Security will be a big part of their planning.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, I have to say that even though we have good benefits at AARP, I'm
Mhm.
still dependent on Social Security, especially if I want to retire early.
Yeah,
Definitely, for me, Social Security. Without it, my plans for early retirement are just gone. So I definitely am looking forward for Social Security to make my plan work, so to speak. Right.
right.
So let's go to the 14, Maria.
Do you have retirement funding sources other than Social Security in place?
Yeah. Again, a good question. We want to know what folks think about this, because, so, you won't believe this, but right before this show, I received a visit from my brother's son, and his name is, well, I don't want to say his name, but anyway, he came, and we were actually talking about these things, right? Because he's tried to be an entrepreneur, and then now he got a job. So sometimes they don't know that if at the employment they don't offer, say, a 401k, and much less a pension, which is unheard of these days. Very few
Hmm.
companies offer pension, but he didn't know that they can open an IRA account, right?
Right.
You can
Right.
you can open an IRA account. Obviously, you can do investments, even in real estate. So there's just other ways, other means, other
Hmm.
sources, and Social Security is just one of them. So it is very important to have this conversation to make people aware that there are other options that we need to look into, and not just stick to Social Security, because definitely Social Security is not going to be enough
Yep.
in retirement.
Right.
Not at all.
Right.
And question 15 goes along with question 14. So, what other retirement funding sources are you aware of or have in place? So, for example, like we mentioned, David, it could be a pension plan, it could be a 401k plan, some type of other saving investments or Roth IRA. It could be real estate. It'll have different options there that people can click on it.
Definitely. Let's go to number 16. We're almost done, Maria.
Yeah. So, do you know the age at which you can start collecting retirement benefits from Social Security?
And I remember the answers. They're kind of tricky. So when you take the survey, you will find the answers. And I give, like, think 5 choices.
Yeah.
It's 62, 65, 67, 70, or any time after 62 kind of thing. So
Right.
so it's a multiple choice, by the way. This survey is multiple choice for the most part, for the great majority of the questions. So it's like a 4-minute survey. So please take it. We are hoping to get 100 people to take it. I think right now we are at 20. If we can have 100 people take the survey, I think we will get good learnings from it. So please do take the survey. And let me also say that the link to the survey is on the post, so you'll find it there. Let's
Absolutely.
let's go to 17.
So on 17, there seems to be the concept that Social Security will not be there for the younger generations. If familiar with this term or this terminology, what do you think? Do you think it's going to be there for you or not?
There is a tendency. Have you heard of it with the younger generations that is not going to be there? I have heard of
Absolutely.
it. I don't know about
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
Mhm.
Have you heard it from your son, Maria, by chance?
Yes, definitely. He's
Yeah,
20. Hmm.
there seems to be that belief that it's not going to be there. And I know our boss, our director, Dana Kennedy, says that when she was that age, she heard it and probably thought that it wasn't going to be there. So now she's moving into this phase of not necessarily retirement, but nearing, and it's still here. So I honestly believe it's going to be here in AARP, and we are going to make sure it is, right. That's why we're doing this
We'll
effort.
continue fighting.
Yes.
Yes, we have to continue to fight to protect it and strengthen it. And then 18.
Whose turn is it now?
Maria.
Lost mine. Thank you. All right, let me see. Oh goodness. It got blurry. How come?
I'll take
Please.
care of it, Maria.
Yes.
So on question 18 is what messaging
Mhm.
or argument do you suggest could get younger generations interested on the Social Security topic? So this is going to be very important for us to see if we want to do a campaign on Social Security. What is the messaging that we want to use in here, particular because we want to know what the argument is, or that the younger generations want to hear or learn more about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, the assumption is that the young people tend not to care, right?
Right.
Leave
Mhm.
me alone. That's for viejitos way down the road, right? I'm young. I don't want to know about that. But guess what? They are paying into the system. And this is one concept that we have heard in those conversations, right?
Yes.
You're paying into the system. You better care.
Right.
There's going to be money in retirement. Without it, it's going to be tougher. Those are some of the arguments. And then that the parents should talk to their kids, that their employers should offer more webinars, at job places to make sure that the younger generations stay on top of the knowledge, at least, on how this retirement preparation works. So we are learning some things, but we definitely need more, and that's where we are coming to you to ask you to take this survey. Let's go to 19.
I'll take that
19.
one. So,
You can, okay, good.
yeah, what platforms would you say are the best to reach younger audiences with Social Security education?
Yes, very
Yeah.
important question.
Yeah.
Yes,
Social media, right, would be one
exactly.
of the
But
important,
which platforms? Because many of the younger generations don't utilize Facebook.
right? Mm-hmm.
Oh, right
That
before the show, we were talking about TikTok. Is it TikTok? Maybe David doing a dance video there in TikTok on Social Security. You can do
yeah.
a rap,
I
David.
don't know. We might have to end up doing that, doing some dancing or something to get people's attention. But you know what? This is so
There you go.
critical. I mean, this is just so critical because it has to do with planning. And it has to do with getting to retirement with sufficient assets for you to live a comfortable life. We're not talking about living rich unless you have the means. By all means, go for it. But we just want to make sure that that especially those that may not have those benefits at employment.
Right.
We have to know how these things work so that we can prepare. So it's crucial this
Yeah.
type of education. I feel very pleased actually to be addressing an issue that nobody wants to talk about, right? But
Exactly.
it's very encouraging to me because I see that is linked to the present and to the future, is linked to employment, is linked to benefits, to planning, is linked to our life, our
Yeah,
financial
it
life,
does.
even how to use your credit card.
Yeah.
It has to do with everything that you do. That's why a social security topic is only like a little flag that talks or that leads you into other arenas of your life. It's not just retirement when you get old. It's just addresses or is linked to so many other moving parts in our working life. So it's
Right.
very critical. Let's end
Absolutely.
it by reading the last one,
Yeah, the
20.
last question is, assuming you believe it is worth advocating for Social Security so that the program is secure and solvent for future generations, would you be willing to join our effort? And we're not asking you to donate money here.
Right.
It's basically just, you want to be part of this movement to make sure that Social Security is solvent when you retire.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And the way to do it, as I said it in the beginning, is we have opened up. You can obviously follow. I have to believe that if you're watching this video, you're probably already following our AARP Arizona Hispanic Connection Facebook page. But we also opened up or created a Facebook group called Social Security. Will it be there for me? Look it up online. Actually, I think I have a slide for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Go to Social Security, look it up as a Facebook group, Social Security. Will it be there for me? I have the address there. I realize it's very difficult to, I guess, type in the whole thing, but I think if you look for it in
Yeah,
Facebook, it'll come
find it.
up.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are having these educational programs. We open up the group. We also are having those conversations. And now we have the survey. And upcoming, we will be asking you if you would like to join. How would we call it? An online, right? An
Mm-hmm.
online list so that you can get alerts when it comes time to contact your representative, your senators, your congress person. So it's coming. So hopefully you are following us and you are joining us and you are providing input. Before we finish, anything that you want to add? This is pretty much what we wanted to do for this show.
I think just to finish up, when you're talking about asking them to help us with the advocacy side of it, we make it so simple. If you
Right.
become an advocate, an e-advocate, we basically create the templates. We basically just say, hey, do you want to contact your Congress or your Senate, et cetera, and advocate for Social Security? Click this button. It takes you to another page. It basically sends the email out for you automatically. It just puts your name, and basically it gets sent then to the senators, to the Congress, et cetera. That way you can help us do the advocacy side. So we make it very simple.
So much easier nowadays with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when I learn about that, I made it a point, and now I do it 100%. Anything comes my way, to contact my senator, my
Mm-hmm.
congressman, congresswoman, whoever that might be, I do it because, like you said, it's so practical, so
Easy.
easy.
Mm-hmm.
And in a future show, we will
Yep.
be asking you or giving you that opportunity to
Right.
join the AARP network of e-activists. We call them e-activists, but let's not get ahead of ourselves right now. What we would like to do, very much so, is to ask you to take the survey. The link is on the post. Please do. We are hoping to get at least 100 people to take the survey. Maria, thank you so much. Alex, I think it's been a very good show. The more we talk about these things, the more I realize how important it is. So thank you, Alex. Thank you, Maria.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
See you soon. Take care.
Bye.